By the end of 2023, Tesla was just a car company to me. I liked the way the cars looked. They were slick, they were fashionable, they were efficiently made. But I didn't realize what this company was growing behind the scenes, what their capital expenditure was going into. The fact that this company has shown in just the last few months what its vision is going to be for the future, it's turned from what I would say is a fictional story of cybercabs and a robotaxi network and Optimus robots working in factories and doing repetitive jobs actually now starts to feel like non-fiction. Elon Musk has steered the ship for over a decade, and he has made what doesn't feel possible. He's made a profitable EV company. He's managed to expand across so many different parts of the world. He's managed to produce the highest selling and most marginable EV car, the Model Y, ever. And I just think that with him steering the ship, this company has managed to execute so many impossible tasks and make them reality. So Optimus, Robotaxi Network are more fictional stories that most investors do not understand or believe could actually become reality. What I want to go through in this video are some of the more realistic targets for 2025, the tailwinds behind this company and how this stock is still very undervalued, and how in 2025 this stock is going to continue to grow, it's going to continue to increase. And I want you to stick around for the ride to understand just some of the simple reasons why. So let's go. These tailwinds and milestones come from a really famous long-term Tesla investor called Herbert Ong. He's got his own channel called Bright with Herbert. I get a lot of information from this channel and I digest it and I interpret in my own way and make my own decisions. But he's managed to cross-check all of these targets with other really knowledgeable financial analysts in the space. And so this current set of targets and milestones for 2025 are extremely reliable and very achievable for Tesla. So tailwind number one is the opening up of the Shanghai Megapack factory, which will happen in Q1 next year in 2025. This is an energy storage behemoth, which will basically be where solar and wind and energy can be stored in these large battery units and then be used at a time which is opportunistic for when the grid goes down, when you want to just be able to have a backup of energy for any type of emergency situation. So the opening up of this factory is going to be extremely profitable. The margin that comes from this energy storage facility is going to be so good for the price of Tesla and its stock, and it will definitely be a tailwind which will help increase the current price to a much higher evaluation. Milestone number two is the opening up of the supercluster Cortex. Currently, there's one in Texas, which is 50,000 H100s from NVIDIA. These are large servers that basically create this computational galaxy where you are able to process all of this data, all of this information, allowing for FSD, which is fully self-driving, also the Cortex, the brain for the Optimus robot. Now, what they're going to open up next year in Q1 is an 100,000 H100 GPU database. So this is going to be 2x the current size of the one in Texas, which is already the largest in the world. This is definitely going to allow them to increase the amount of software updates for FSD, allowing them to really go through all of these little edge cases and solve these edge cases, creating the robotaxi network. And this is going to be incredibly important for the price of the stock. And it's definitely going to help it move to a higher evaluation next year. Milestone number three is the revised version of the Model Y called the Juniper. Now, currently, the Model Y is the best-selling vehicle on Earth. So if they revise this vehicle and they just make it a little bit more desirable aesthetically, it's going to be something that sells like hotcakes. This is definitely going to increase the price of the stock in 2025. Milestone number four is the affordable vehicle, which is going to be built on the new gen platform. This is expected to be in production in Q2 of 2025. Again, this is a very important part of the movement towards being able to create even more vehicles, being able to increase that production every quarter into 2025. And this is definitely going to improve the stock price. Milestone number five is clear federal regulatory framework for autonomous driving. Now, because of Elon Musk's relationship with the current administration, his relationship with Donald Trump, it's going to allow him to move through some of his ideas and innovations a lot faster. He's currently the Department of Government Efficiency head, which means that he's going to have a very crucial role in making big decisions. Now, I don't know how this is going to affect him in terms of his ability to function as a CEO of Tesla and also have this role. So I think this is going to be more of an advisory role in terms of his government part. But it's going to mean that we're going to move a lot faster in terms of allowing for robo-taxis to start to expand across different states. This is going to, again, lead to that extreme S-curve where the profit that comes from this potential company is starting to become more realized by Wall Street. That's what leads to these huge sudden volumes of participatory institutional involvement in the stock price, and then it also leads to obviously a larger movement in the stock as well. Milestone number 6 is, I believe, going to be the licensing of OEM deals with other car manufacturers. Tesla have managed to create a vision-only system of FSD, which means that they're able to process frames that are coming from all their vehicles that are operating at the moment. And as they process that information in their Cortex supercluster, which they're going to continue to expand, it's allowing them to solve these edge cases. And currently FSD version 13, 13.2 is extremely nuanced in terms of what it's able to create and do, and it eliminates the need for the driver. So at the moment, there are going to be companies that really are looking at this and going, okay, as a company like Nissan may not have developed this software, they're going to be so far behind. Tesla are going to be the company they're going to need to go to get that licensing deal so that they can use their software. And then this is going to increase the price of the stock. So I believe that'll open up in H1, so Q2 at the latest next year. Milestone number 6 is going to be the FSD being used in China. Now, currently I live in Hong Kong and there is no FSD. I've been in so many Teslas, they can't use FSD. They don't have the access to this data. Now, it's probably because of China's very strict and rigid data policy. They don't allow for certain websites, especially in the West, so Facebook, and that's blocked. So FSD for data protection purposes is going to be something that China are very hesitant to allow because of the information and data that it collects and then feeds back to the supercluster in Texas in America. So when that relationship progresses in a positive direction, China are becoming more open to the idea of allowing for FSD, then it could be completely game over at that point. So that could happen by the end of Q2, maybe earlier. Milestone number 7 is a new Megapack factory being announced in the first half of 2025. So again, this Megapack factory is going to be another behemoth of energy storage, a facility that's going to, again, allow for Tesla to just have a pure profit business. The revenue from this factory is just going to be hitting the bottom line and allowing them to make even more progress with other aspects of their business. So that announcement, again, could be another tailwind. If there isn't already enough, this is just another one that you could expect by the end of Q2 next year. Milestone number 8 is the affordable vehicle actually being launched. So now you can actually buy it, you can purchase it, and you can use it. That could be, again, massive for the company because they're just going to start to sell more of these vehicles that they've been able to make at a very cheap price. People are going to want them because they're the most efficient and incredibly aesthetic vehicle on the market when it comes to EVs. So they're going to sell very quickly. This could be huge for the stock, for the company. Milestone 10 is FSD being accessible in Europe. If this is accessible in Europe, it's just going to increase the amount of data being processed by the language learning models, the H100 supercluster Cortex in Texas. If this is now accessible in Europe, it's just going to, again, allow for the collection of data, and it's going to increase the use of Teslas, and it's going to increase the stock price. Milestone number 11 is FSD critical intervention safer than humans. So, for example, if you were to drive 10,000 miles, you don't need to intervene and use the wheel at any point on that journey. So if you think about people who drive all the time, I don't think many people drive 10,000 miles. And if you did, you wouldn't need to intervene with the wheel at any point. So that's just, again, a massive advancement in the technology of Tesla and in their fully self-driving. Milestone 12, again, follows on from FSD critical interventions being safer than humans. It's version 14 of the FSD software. This would mean that the autonomous robotaxi network is just completely unsupervised. There's no need for a tele operator. There's no need for any serious lines of code being added, even though there will be for any edge cases that come up. But this is going to be such a massive exponential move in terms of the advancement of fully self-driving, autonomous driving, and it will absolutely lead to a complete monopoly of the autonomous taxi network. Milestone 13 is, again, the expansion of the supercluster Cortex, now with 200,000 H100 GPUs provided by NVIDIA. Tesla's relationship, Elon's relationship with Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, is what allows them to procure so many of these H100s. Again, they are in such demand. NVIDIA don't struggle to sell these units at all. They have such a long waiting list. For Tesla to be able to secure this many H100s just gives them such an advantage in terms of what they're able to create, in terms of the supercomputer they are creating. 200,000 H100s, the largest learning model, they already have that. This is going to be 4x what the current largest model is, which they already have in Texas. Again, this is going to impact the stock, and I believe that this could be ready in H2 of 2025. Milestone 14, the launch of the ride-hailing service across California and Texas. This is going to, again, be in H2 next year, and it's going to be where they start to really model and show Wall Street what this taxi service is going to be like. Completely autonomous, potentially teleoperated a little bit for any nuanced edge cases that they come across, but this is going to be absolutely massive for the impact it's going to have on the stock price. Milestone 15 is Tesla's Dojo Generation 2, which is the supercomputer that's able to process millions of different video frames, allowing them to create this fully self-driving software. This is going to, again, be such a large advancement in the company and the direction and the robotaxi network, and it will impact the price of the stock in 2025. I think that'll be ready in H2 of 2025. So again, something which will just act as a rocket booster to a company that's already starting to become a little bit more understood by the majority of Wall Street. Milestone 16 is Tesla's lithium refinery manufacturing plant. They've invested over $1 billion into this plant in Texas. This will allow them to provide the lithium required for the batteries for nearly 1 million vehicles, maybe more. This is going to be so good for their vertical integration, their ability to not rely on any external suppliers and to be able to create more of these vehicles, more of these products in-house. That, I think, will be ready in H2 of 2025. 17 is a milestone that I am most excited about, and it's probably the milestone that will impact the stock on levels that are just truly hard to comprehend. And this is the introduction of the Tesla Optimus Generation 3 robot. And this will be probably internally used, so maybe 1,000 bots will be internally used by the end of H2 next year. And this will just, again, start to become more reality-focused tasks that Wall Street can understand. They can see this being used. They can see how this bot could actually apply itself into the real world. And it's just going to be rocket boosters for the stock. The final milestone in 2025, the final tailwind for 2025, is going to be the production of more than 2.2 million vehicles, adding to their total cumulative amount, which is already very high in the millions. So this is going to just show that the demand for electric vehicles is continuing to increase. These are numbers that Wall Street like. They're numbers that Wall Street can model, and it's a lot easier for them to comprehend. So that's going to be a huge tailwind, and that's going to happen in H2 of the next year, of 2025. I like to end these videos with the question of how could this all be relevant? And I think that with all big companies that become massive in whichever aspect of the market that they operate in, Apple with smartphone technology, NVIDIA when they provide H100s and GPUs and chips for AI inference compute for all of these large tech companies. When these companies start to monopolize the market, they start to dictate the direction of innovation, and they start to become household items that everyone is aware of. I believe that Tesla is starting to become one of those companies that's going to monopolize autonomous driving, monopolize energy storage, monopolize factory labor, when it comes to their Optimus robot being deployed into so many different repetitive jobs. It's going to start to disrupt the labor market in general. And I think that Tesla are just a company that are starting to try and build a philosophy of try and protect the planet, reduce the use of internal combustion engines, which is what they've already managed to do. They've already managed to reduce the amount of sales for these car companies that rely on internal combustion engines. And I just think that when you think about Elon Musk, you think about their extreme rigid and high demand working environments that Tesla's created. It just constantly leads to new limits being breached. This company just constantly innovate, create, and they keep setting new benchmarks, getting to that benchmark, and then create a new benchmark. And the tailwinds that I've just listed are just 2025. I will go into 2026 and then beyond, and I'll give you my honest opinion of what I believe will happen. Next year, I think that the stock will go from the potentially mid 300s where it is now. It's at the high 300s, but it could go from the mid 300s because it might have a correction, a pullback, healthy pullback, go into the 400s by the end of 2024. And then in 2025, I think it's just going to start to climb past 500, past 600, maybe end the year around 700, just below 700. If Wall Street can see what the companies are going to become into 2026 and 2027, I think that that's the moment that this company just truly takes off. Thank you for watching. I hope you got some value from this. I know that the content I'm providing at the moment is mainly Tesla, but it's just whatever I am currently most interested in, what I'm currently most obsessed with, what I'm currently following and tracking and spending the majority of my time understanding, and that is Tesla at the moment. I do really hope that you got some value from this. If you did, there are 2 other videos to the side of me that I believe will be relevant. Part 1 and part 2 of how I believe that Tesla becomes a $10 to $25 trillion company. Thank you very much. See you in the next one.